Hi, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. A special thank you to my patrons, Acrophobe, Christina, Wild Rose, Lauren Chris, Michael B. Petty, That British Unicorn, Jam Beans, Debbie Elliott, and D. Higgins. So if I seem a little bit exhausted today, it's because I am. I'm feeling slightly under the weather. It's mostly just because of lack of sleep, so nothing to worry about. It always happens when I get too stressed and I haven't slept enough, and then I just get really, really down, and yeah, it's one of those kind of days. This is actually the third time I'm recording this video. I had to reapply my under eye concealer. Between the fact that my computer is a piece of crap and the fact that I don't know what I'm doing, there's always some issue, but this time it's not even worth getting into. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not worth getting into. So let's get into AmberLynn's week. If you guys aren't aware, Amber actually went live just a couple of days ago, and that's the only video that she's put out this week, at least as of me recording this, which is always Thursday night. And I think it's like 2 a.m. right now, and she hasn't put anything else up. So I'm pretty confident in saying that she, won't have anything else up this week. Maybe starting Saturday, Sunday, maybe we'll get something. I don't know. Let's see. It was an interesting live. I both really enjoyed it, and some of the stuff she said I found really, really irritating. She is the most herself in these lives, right? And I think she makes a comment about this at some point during the live where she says that, it's not that the real AmberLynn's coming out. It's just that the annoyed AmberLynn's coming out. Yes and no. When she is doing her pre-recorded videos and she edits, she tends to take away almost all of her personality. I think in the hopes of avoiding getting a lot of the criticism that people give her and saying so that, she's the most bland, she's the least criticizable. But what that also does is takes away a lot of her personality. Amber is a great troll when she wants to be. She's fantastic. So there's, I think, this point where someone goes my, thing is erect. And she goes, what do you mean? It's the funniest thing. She's so genuinely entertaining when she's being trolly, but in a good way. So I really like that aspect of her. There's a couple of other points where she gets kind of feisty with people in the comments, and I think, it's funny. And people are genuinely very mean to her. There is no denying that AmberLynn gets a lot of fat phobia, and she gets a lot of anger and hatred directed towards her, right? 100% she's had that happen. And even in the comments here, right, she's saying that she's getting a lot of people just giving her pig emojis and whale emojis. These are objectively very unkind things to do. It doesn't matter if a person is fat, right? Just repetitively just bombarding them with that one thing. You're fat, you're fat, you're fat, you're fat, you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly. Or saying stuff what was it? It was whale-sized casket or something like that. Those are not nice things to do. That's genuinely very, very mean. So I got why she was a little bit spicier, why she came and was a little bit more defensive of herself. That's all perfectly fine. And I've said before, even when she talked about Charlie Gold, right? She said that Charlie says a lot of stuff about her that she would not necessarily say about Charlie, but if she says anything, she'll get a lot of hate, whereas Charlie says mean stuff about her, quote unquote, and that Charlie won't get as much hate. You're underestimating that. Charlie does get a lot of pushback. A lot of people, and she said as much on her channel as well, her own inner circle have talked to her about the fact that, maybe she shouldn't say some of the stuff that she says. She says what she says. She has her reasonings for it. I'm not here to defend Charlie. She doesn't need my defense. She's a grown-ass woman. She's perfectly capable of defending herself if she needs to. And there are reasons for why she expresses herself the way that she does. But when you come into somebody's live chat and you say things you're gonna die, you're a crack baby, that is very, very unkind. And so I appreciated the fact that she was willing to defend herself, and she did it in a very, very classy way. And another thing I will say, take note, Chantal, if you want to defend yourself, there is not one instance in the entirety of this video where Amber used a racial slur, where Amber used a just any kind of problematic language. She wasn't anti-Semitic. None of that. That's how you should do it. That's how you should respond to stuff like that. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that Amber was a lot more careful, that Amber was a lot less problematic. So I want to talk about the entirety of her video. I want to go through some of the points that she makes, and I want to talk about it. Normally, I insert clips in here. You guys know my software is just not working with my computer. I don't know what the issue is. A really, really kind subscriber, thank you, Lauren, has given me like a solution to this, but while I'm learning the new software, it will take a little bit of time. I hope that you guys aren't too annoyed with this. Hopefully we'll be back to the regularly scheduled programming in just short order. But until then, I'll try and insert the clips that my software will let me, and then after that, it'll probably just be me talking. So I apologize in advance. I'm sorry, you guys.
So yes. Oh my god, this is like so crazy. Oh my god, yes, I am engaged. So Becky's Facebook is on private, but we had someone behind her back that she was friends with be part of like a hate group. It is what it is. And I wanted to share this myself with everyone, obviously. So there is like a whole like story behind it. Becky was gonna propose like last year, but I ended up finding out. So then she was like, okay, now I'm going to have to redo this. And I was so mad at myself that I found out. And, you know, it is what it is. Like, everything happens for a reason. And I don't know. It's pretty freaking awesome. Yes, I'm engaged. I can't believe it. It is. And I told Becky and she agrees to it. So, yeah. And I'm not going to say, like, how she proposed. Because it's just, like, I don't know. I want to keep some things, like, personal, obviously. So yeah, and a lot of people are also saying that Becky paid for the ring, and that I paid for the ring, and I just want to say that Becky actually paid for it. She gets commissions for her art, so I don't know. That just like made me sad that a lot of people were just like, "Oh my god, you paid for your own ring." Da, da, da. It's almost like even if I did, who cares? But I didn't. So,
first things first, Amber confirmed the engagement. Yay! I'm really happy for her and Becky. I know that some people have had their doubts about her and Becky's relationship, myself included, but I'm really glad that if this is what makes them happy, that they're both getting together, they're both going to get married. They set a date. I think she says it like later on too, that she's not going to disclose when the date is. She's probably just going to pop on and be like, hey, we're married now. I really do hope that she does make like a series out of this where she like goes to find dresses, and she doesn't have to post it right now. She can backdate all of this, but this would be great content. And I would watch the hell out of that, and I think I would seriously enjoy it. She is a heavier lady, and I think that there is definitely an audience for watching what she does about her wedding dress. Is she going to get a custom one? How long does it take to make? What is the fit going to be? How expensive will it be? All this will be fantastic. And also, if she puts it on her channel, it all becomes a tax write-off. Hint, hint, I've got a video on financial literacy and AmberLynn coming up, so stay tuned for that. Another thing that I found very odd that people brought up was the fact that they're like, well, Becky just used your own money and she, bought you a ring. When you are in a domestic relationship, most people, right, join their finances, and one partner generally ends up making more than the other one does. It's what it is, right? If you're in a heterosexual relationship, it generally ends up being the dude, though thank God those norms are changing. And when you have that happen, it's not that it's all one person's money and the rest of it is like your money. Like, that's not how it works, right? Most of the time you're merging your finances, and whatever you have that's like extra after like necessities like, water, electricity, monthly, it's both of your joint income, right? So partner and I, for example, everything we make, we put it together, and we spend equally. I'll be frank, partner spends a little bit more than I do. I don't spend a lot of money. I'm very, very cheap. You guys know this. And more importantly, there's just not a lot of stuff we need, right? Like I buy groceries and whatnot, but beyond that, right now, we don't really need very much. I have friends who have kids, and one partner takes off from work to look after the kids. It doesn't mean that all the money that their partner earns is like their partner's money and they get none of it because they're technically not working in the traditional sense. None of that matters. When you're in a household like that, it's joint income. And that's genuinely why also the government bills it as joint income. So I don't agree with that. It's both of their funds. If Becky used the money, their money, quote unquote, to buy a ring for Amber, I think that's fair. If Becky used her own money, once more, from commissions from her art sales, that's fine too, but that's not necessary, and I don't like that. Additionally, it doesn't matter how expensive that ring is. I don't tend to wear my ring a lot because when my hands get wet and the band gets wet underneath, it really irritates me. So I don't have it on a lot. But my ring isn't like the most blingiest thing in the world. And it's not, I don't care. And I think partner even mentioned at some point, he's like, I'll upgrade your ring and at our 10-year anniversary or something. I don't want a new ring. I don't ever want a new ring. That is the only ring that I want. That's the ring that partner proposed to me with. And so that's the ring I'm going to wear. It has sentimental value to me. And I don't care how much it costs. Like, that's not a thing that I care about. And that's how you should be too. It shouldn't be about how expensive the ring is. It should be about how much care they put into finding the ring for you. I know partner talked to my best friends. They sent them pictures. They found the perfect ring, something that I would love, and they got me that. So all of that is more important to me than the size of the diamond and how much they had to pay for it. Like, that's a ridiculous standard to hold. And if it's from Walmart, then it's from Walmart. As long as Becky got it with the best intentions and with love, then Amber is lucky.
Thank you so much for the super chat. AmberLynn, congrats, you're perfect for each other. Do you have a goal weight for your wedding? Love you both. Thank you for the super chat. Well, a goal weight. So I have to be like realistic, and I have to think of like, okay, the date and like how much could I really lose in that time and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely want to lose weight for it. But it's also not something that's like, it's important. It's one of like the top things that I'm worried about. But you also have to think of it like this. Becky asked to marry me, so she loves me no matter what. But I personally would like to be smaller for my wedding.
So Amber's saying that another thing that Amber talks about is that she has a goal weight for the wedding, that she wants to be slightly smaller than she is currently for the wedding. That's great. I'm glad that she's got a goal weight in mind, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she'll make the goal weight. And also she should be a little careful about that, right? You don't want to try and do a crash diet, especially because she does have a binge eating disorder, that she does the crash diet, loses weight, and then post-wedding, she gains that plus more back. Because as nice as it would be to look good in your wedding dress, the ultimate goal is living a long, happy, healthy life. And maybe a crash diet isn't the best for someone with her particular mental health concerns. It's not a great idea for most people, but I think if you don't have like a binge eating disorder, then doing a short bout of quote unquote dieting to fit into a special dress is not that harmful. But for some people, that can trigger them to eat more and more and more.
I can only see the super chats because they stay there. How's therapy going? Thank you, Hessie. Only went once. And it was a couple months ago. So I wasn't jiving. I got to be honest. So I need to find someone else. And I think I need to find someone who understands like binge eating and like food problems, because I feel like I'm not finding therapists who like understand that. So.
And this is why it's so concerning that she's trying to hit a weight before her wedding is she only saw the therapist the one time, and she has a history of doing this. She has a history of going to see a therapist one time, and then all of a sudden they'll say something or they'll do something and it'll become really hard for her mentally, and then she'll just nope out of there. And it's not good, right? It means that she'll continue to cope with food. It means that she'll continue to try and self-soothe in a manner that's not effective and that's actively detrimental and harmful to her health. I really, really wish she would go back to a therapist. I really wish she would continue to see a therapist. And I genuinely feel like, I know she says that like she didn't vibe with the therapist, but the fact of the matter is that I don't even know if that's true. I think she looks for any excuse to not see the therapist again. She might say that it's because I didn't like this therapist. I don't think that they had the right intentions for me. I don't think they were the right one for me. But a lot of times the way that it comes across to me is like excuse seeking. She's looking for any reason to dismiss a therapist so that she doesn't have to continue doing the difficult mental work that she would have to. And I said multiple times before, Amber's had a very tough childhood. That is a lot of work she's going to have to do, and none of it is going to be easy, and all of it is going to be emotionally exhausting.
I feel like I'm manic, and I promise I'm not. Like, I have been crying like all day and like laying in bed and like I'm just not doing very good. But I feel happy to be talking to you guys about this, and I'm happy to be talking about this because I'm so happy about it. But I'm going to be having 2 engagement rings, okay? Because the one that Becky proposed to me with, I love it. I adore it, obviously. Like, I told her what type of rings I like and such. But it's not something that I'm just going to like wear around 24/7. It's just really big. And I just like, I don't know. I get kind of embarrassed like showing it. Like, the attention of it makes me feel, I don't know. So, no, this ring is not from Walmart. It is not from Walmart. Ooh, a bunch of piggies. Yay, I'm a piggy. Love that. Okay. So yeah, I will be getting another engagement ring to wear like all the time, like 24/7, because I feel like it's more like, I feel more comfortable wearing that one versus like a huge like bling in your face as I'm literally sitting here with donuts as earrings. But I'm sure you guys understand.
2 engagement rings. Curious. I don't know. It seems really weird to me that she has 2 engagement rings. I would just keep the 1 engagement ring, and then when they get married, she can get a wedding band, and that can be like a little bit simpler. It can just have like the small diamonds in it or whatever, and then she can wear the wedding band on a day-to-day basis. A lot of the people that I work with actually do that. You guys know I'm like in a science field. I am a scientist, and so through like gloves, it's really, really hard if you've got a very big blingy ring, because the neoprene gloves that you have, it'll rip the gloves. And so a lot of times you have to either leave your rings at home or you have to wear something smaller. So I tend to just wear my wedding band. A lot of my coworkers tend to do the same. They'll just wear the wedding bands, or they won't wear a ring at all. So if she thinks that her like engagement ring is too blingy, why not just wait till the wedding and then just wear the wedding band every day? I mean, you don't really even have to wear a wedding band or an engagement ring all day long. Though I will say, it does repel creeps. It's very effective for that. I have held my hand out like this to ward off a vampire, but with like my ring, just be like, back away, demon, when I was not into somebody flirting with me. Though, given my awkwardness, I'm generally not into people flirting with me.
So yeah, I don't know what to say, you guys. Sophia Hall, can you make an OnlyFans? Thank you for the super chat. And no, I see. The thing is, OnlyFans is a sexual place, and I'm not really into like showing my fat, so I probably wouldn't make it. But I've heard that people go on there and they're not like super sexual, like they'll just like show some cleavage. And I've asked Becky as a joke, I'm like, can I get an OnlyFans and show cleavage? And she's like low-key okay with that. So I don't know. To all your to the reaction channels, title your video AmberLynn's getting the OnlyFans. I'm trying to get you some money, okay?
All right. OnlyFans and Amber. All the points that I made about Chantal also apply to Amber. So if you guys are curious, refer to that video.
Wedding dress haul. That'd be funny. Oh my god. Do they make wedding dresses for people my size? I mean, I'm sure they do, but I ain't gonna be this size for my wedding. I'm not. Am I gonna be fat? Yes. But am I gonna be this size? No. No. Absolutely not.
So see, this is what I was talking about in the beginning. She should definitely get a custom wedding dress made. She can get it exactly the style that she wants. She can get the most flattering cut for her body. It could be beautiful. She could have a train. She has the finances for it. And once more, if she's doing it on her channel, all of that is tax deductible. So absolutely go for it. Absolutely film it and put it up after your wedding is over. So people can't like figure stuff out about your venue or where you went or anything like that, right? So like wait until you're already married, and then you can release it post-wedding, and that can sort of act as sort of your like honeymoon period, so you don't have to worry about filming and posting stuff either. Her comments on Alex's Shook and Charlie Gold. So I've watched some of Alex's videos. He's kind of entertaining. It's not a channel I follow regularly, though he's a good reactor, just not for me personally. I don't actually tend to watch a lot of stuff. Even on YouTube, I just don't have the time, sadly. I'm behind on videos constantly. But he has some good takes. He has some really good information. His own personal life experiences lends him that. And she says that he mentioned something about, you know, him being very supportive of her in regards to something in her past. I think what she's talking about is the Casey Amber situation. If you guys don't know, a while ago, a few years ago at this point, Amber had said that one of her exes had sexually assaulted her, essentially. And the ex in question had been a transgendered man, and he'd come online and he defended himself, and he said, "I never did that. She is completely making this up. In fact, she was the one who was aggressive towards me. Not in a sexual assault kind of way, but just in a domestic violence kind of way, though that doesn't exactly make it better." So that's what Casey had said. And Amber essentially got on and she deleted her video. So a lot of people have doubts about Amber's story, myself included. I'll be frank with you. I have some experience with this myself. So I can tell you that the back and forth conversation that Amber engaged in with Casey after the fact seemed very foreign to me. Like, it's so weird to me that you would go back to your abuser to ask those sorts of questions. Whereas Casey's very, very cold rejection of her makes much more sense to me in my head. But people react to trauma in different ways. I've had a few people tell me in my comments down below that, you don't know, you weren't there, and some of what Amber does can actually, like, it's indicative of someone who's experienced that in the past. So, in interest of not invalidating anybody's experience, from this point on, I am no longer going to refer to it. I have my doubts, but I want everyone to make up their own minds on that, and I don't want to encourage anyone to look at this situation in particular, given that it's such a sensitive topic. I'm not going to keep talking about it. I'm going to assume that what is done, and I'm going to move on from it. So I won't mention it. I won't talk about it anymore, because Alex is right in the sense that we weren't there. So we can't know 100% the truth of the matter. And on the off chance that I am wrong, for me to personally be wrong is one thing, but for me to be personally wrong and then tell everybody to see it from my point of view, and then for all those people to believe it as well, and for everyone to have been wrong and maybe put the weight of that on somebody who really wasn't at fault, I don't know if I could live with that. So I hope I'm clear on that. I hope what I'm trying to convey comes across. Now, what she says about Charlie is interesting. Look, if she wants to talk about Charlie, she can go ahead and talk about Charlie. She is entitled to her opinion on anybody on YouTube, just like any one of us are. And if she really wants to, like, monetize on that, I think that's great. I think doing that is much better than doing mukbang. So make a video of you reacting to Charlie Gold, or you reacting to another big, reactor and refuting their points. And I would sit there and I would 100% watch that. But to just dismiss all of Charlie's points as, well, she's mean to me. She is a little bit harsh in her critique. I won't lie about that. But that doesn't mean that she's wrong. And that's where I guess my issue with Amber comes in, is that by just reducing all of Charlie's criticisms down to you're mean, you're not addressing anything, and it actually gives other people more ammo to say, yeah, we don't care. You really want, and I also feel this way, that a lot of times people are meaner to her because she refuses to address the things that people bring up, right? So if you want to respond to something, say, I'm telling you right now, right? I have legitimate doubts about you saying that you vibed with you didn't vibe with your therapist, and so you left. I think you left because it got hard. So, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this time you really didn't vibe with your therapist. But the fact of the matter is that you've been to therapists a ton of times in the past and noped out of there after one session. You have a history of doing that, and it's been months and you haven't seen another one. That tells me all I need to know. But by not admitting that, and by not being upfront and honest about that you got scared and that's why you stopped, and by obfuscating the truth, people have a lot more ammo to go at you with. So she's saying that she gets a lot of comments comparing her to Trisha Paytas. I will say a lot of things. Amber is a lot of things for sure, but she is not Trisha Paytas. And I mean this as a compliment, not as an insult. Trisha Paytas has a lot of money and a lot of influence, and she might have a gorgeous mansion, but she's an absolute garbage heap of a person, and no one will convince me otherwise. So Amber not being like Trisha, good on you. Amber, I'm glad you're not Trisha, because that is like, that basically is like setting the bar like one level above Nikocado, and that is it. Both of them are garbage human beings as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Amber also touches a lot on her cancer and just about her fear of being happy. As someone with anxiety, I really do understand where she's coming from when she says that she has a genuine fear of being happy. Sometimes when something is going really right in my life, the way that my brain works, it's like, oh, that means something bad is about to happen. So it's like just waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's maddening. And I know, like especially when I'm about to get my period, I have the strongest conviction, like the day before I'm about to get my period, that something is going to go wrong. And I know you guys are going to all joke about, haha, that thing that's going to go wrong is you getting your period. But it's not funny in the moment. It's funny after the fact sometimes. But a lot of times it's a dead certainty that somewhere out there is something going disastrously wrong. And if I just knew about it, if I could just do something, that the outcome would be different. And it's like horrific things, right? Like my family getting hurt in a car accident, the roof caving in on us, our house catching fire, stuff like that. And I can't help it. I want to, I wish I could, but I can't. And so I understand where she's coming from, right? I have that same problem. It sucks, but you know what helps with that? Therapy. Therapy really helps with that. As for just cancer, yeah. This is another reason why you need therapy. You need to lose the weight. This is not about aesthetics. And I think people often mistake when I say that Amber needs to lose weight with Amber needs to be extremely skinny. This has nothing to do with her appearance. I don't even care if she never gets below like 300. If she gets to 400, I'll be happy for her. Because at 400, she'll have a much, much higher chance of being able to fit into those, the machines that she needs, in the MRI machine, in the CAT scan machine. And it'll make surgery on her so much safer. If she gets to 300 pounds, she'll just have so much more mobility, and she'll be so much happier. It's got less to do with her appearance. She doesn't ever have to fit into the societal expectation of beauty. And I've told you before, if she loses a ton of weight now, she's going to end up looking like a fitted sheet, right? All of her skin is going to hang on her. It's not going to be pretty, but it will be better for her. I don't care if she's never beautiful. It doesn't matter to me what her appearance is. If she loses like 100, 200 pounds, the implications for her health are enormous. That's why I always tell people, I don't care that like Charlie Gold hasn't weighed in and she's not, like a skinny mini and like just being like a healthy legend, right? That's not the goal. Most people who lose weight will never get to what is considered healthy, right? Like just an average, like 130 pounds. You might not ever get to that point, but you can be healthier. You can be better. You can get to a point where you don't have pain every time you move. And that's, I think, a very noble goal. That is something that you should strive for. So if you are overweight right now, don't have your goal be that I want to look like, I don't know, freaking Jennifer Lawrence. Your goal should be, I want to lose 10% of my body weight, right? And if a couple of years after you've done that, be like, I'm going to try losing another 10%. That's fantastic. Maybe eventually you will get to that point, but that shouldn't be what's required of you. This is not about appearance. It's about health. Even if you're in the overweight category, people who are overweight still live a significantly longer, and some studies have indicated even longer than people who are skinny, right? So you don't have to be thin. Just don't be morbidly obese. That's all I'm asking for here. And I don't think that that is a weird thing to ask for. And I don't think that people should be looked down upon for like not being societally attractive, which is what I found a lot of this like garbage rhetoric that you hear from like, especially from the antis who love to come at Val and at, CherryBerry and at Charlie Gold about the fact they're like, well, they're not skinny. This was not about being skinny. It's not about being societally attractive. I don't give a shit. There is exactly one person in the entire world who I want to look attractive for, and that person already finds me attractive. So I don't give a shit if I never end up looking like a snatched model on Instagram, okay? My goal is that I want to climb Machu Picchu. I want to do the Inca Trail. That is my goal. That is where I want to be. So it's got nothing to do with anybody else. It's got nothing to do with anything else. So I'm going to work my ass off as much as I can. I might not ever get to that point where I look extremely thin, right? My lower half is always going to be bigger than my upper half. It's just how I'm built. And I told you guys, I have lipedema in my legs. So I might not ever get to that point. But hell, if I can be like my healthy weight, which is for me about 140 pounds. If you guys don't know, I'm 5'6". So I'm not very short, but I'm not very tall either. So I'm 5'6". So for me, 140 pounds is a good healthy weight. So if I can get to that point, then I'm like perfectly content. I don't want to, even if I can get to like 150, I'll be fine, right? It's a little bit overweight, but it's not the biggest thing. It's not the biggest end of the world sort of a deal. That's it. I don't care about aesthetics. I don't care about her aesthetics. I don't care about Charlie's aesthetics or Val's aesthetics. I just want everybody to be a little bit healthier. And if you never ever get to that point where you are quote unquote healthy, I think just aiming for healthier is a great alternative, right? Just being healthier every single day is good. It's like Charlie says, right? Better tomorrow. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. And this is why a lot of heavier reactors talk about this issue. This is why I talk about it. Because I think that Amber has this weird perception that only extremely skinny people should talk about her weight. Amber has not really expressed this quite as much, but Chantel for sure, where she talks a lot about how, how can all of these fat people talk about her being, fat when they themselves haven't lost all the weight. So you want somebody who is like supermodel style skinny coming on here and talking about weight when they've never struggled with it, when they won't have anything to say other than you're fat, do better? That makes no sense. Wouldn't you rather have somebody who's been in your shoes and now can actually give you advice that helped them? Wouldn't you rather have somebody talk about it from a personal experience? That's why I talk about it. That's why I mention it, because I've been through what they've been through. Not to that extent, but still, I have a lot of overlapping life experience. That's why I can talk about it. That's why when they do shit that's like weird, I can point out to and be like, yeah, see, they're doing that. I recognize that. I used to do that. I used to be that. I used to behave this way. And if she wants to talk about Charlie, go ahead, talk about Charlie. She wants to talk about the Jeffree Star drama, go ahead and talk about the Jeffree Star drama. Girl, are you kidding? Give your takes on that. I mean, you get so much hate as it is, right? Might as well get a little bit of hate from the Jeffree Star stan accounts or whatever. It'll be so much more interesting than whatever you're doing now. Can you imagine? I would love to sit there and watch her give her hot takes on all of this mess. Which, for the record, I think that Jeffree's trash. I think Shane Dawson is trash. I think Ryland is trash. I think Trisha Paytas is trash. Pretty much everybody involved in this is trash. The only one that is sort of like trash adjacent would be like Ethan and Hila. They're the only people that I'm kind of willing to give a quote unquote pass to, but even then their association with Trisha is problematic to me. So, whatever. That's just where I stand on it. And I don't care if anybody agrees with me. Gaslighting is not a joke. It's a tactic used by manipulators and abusers. So I don't care what your reasonings are for doing it. It still makes you a garbage person. Revisionist history in your own head can be one thing. I have memories of me liking and disliking certain fruits when I was younger, but I don't go back and tell other people, and when they tell me, hey, no, you're wrong, I don't be like, no, you're wrong. You're wrong, and you're wrong forever thinking that I was wrong, because that's what you do. That is a garbage tactic used by garbage people. And the fact that you're doing it on a wide scale and using your mental health as an excuse makes me dislike you. This is the sort of thing that people get mad at you about. Behaving in a garbage manner is what gets people mad at you about, right? There's a lot of people who have the same psychopathology that you do, and they don't come on here and they don't gaslight people and they don't hurt people and they don't tell them that they're liars when they obviously are not. They don't tell them to deny what they saw with their own eyes and heard with their own ears just because it's inconvenient to you now. I don't care that you have mental health concerns. It doesn't give you or anybody else the right to behave this way with anyone. Ah, yes, the young, dumb honey bun situation. This was the root of the great fracture, as I like to call it, in between the haters and the anti-haters. How Charlie Gold became the spearhead of this movement, I will never understand, because it was not her. If you guys aren't aware, young, dumb honey bun, let me backtrack a little. Young Dumb Honey Bun is another reactor. She used to do mostly compilations, and then she started doing reacts. And then Amber had this entire Snapchat rant where she's like, you despicable pieces of shit. And Young Dumb Honey Bun made a merch line out of it. She had that quote on her t-shirt, and then she also had a drawing of Amber, kind of, if I remember correctly. And a lot of people said that wasn't okay, and that's basically what created the fracture. I'm firmly on the side of that wasn't okay. You can capitalize on anything you say and you do. I have my Patreon, as I've always mentioned, always be plugging, linked down below, right? So I understand capitalizing on your audience, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean that I'm providing you guys with something. If you guys want to, you can provide me with something, and same thing for her, right? She's providing you guys with entertainment, and in return, she's like, hey, if you guys want to support me by purchasing my merch, go for it. anything you do, your own likeness, is free to use. But when you start using other people's, even if it's not illegal, it still gets into a morally sticky situation. Additionally, I haven't seen a lot of her reacts, so I don't really know about her as a person. Never really followed it, so I don't know. Though I have heard through sources that she tends to be really, really picky about what Amber and Chantel say and do. I don't have any proof for that, and I reserve judgment. Like I said, haven't seen any of her stuff, and I wish I could say I will go through and I'll watch her videos, but I simply do not have the time. Amber is right. She gets a lot of criticism, both fair and unfair, right? The fair criticism is always going to be stuff like, hey, you need to go back to a therapist, you need to go see a doctor, go see a PT, go see, all of the, like a team of medical experts. The unfair criticism, though, there is a lot of that too, is like nitpicking every single thing she eats. Not everything she eats is going to be perfect. Not everything that she does is going to be perfect. But I think nitpicking is not exactly helpful. For me, what I try to look for when I'm looking at Amber, when I'm looking at Chantel, is trends, right? Eating one unhealthy meal does not mean anything as long as it's one unhealthy meal. The problem is a lot of times we'll see her eat multiple unhealthy meals, and then at the end of the week she'll go, I gained weight, or my weight hasn't changed. That is a trend. That is a problem. But if you're only eating, like, say, 2 even, say, a week, right? You're eating like a thing from Wendy's and then you got panera or something, I don't know. If you're doing that, but at the end of the week you're still under your calories and you're still losing weight and the rest of your meals are fine, I say fine. No one cares. No one is like sitting here to nitpick, right? Well, I'll take that back. There are a lot of people that sit here and nitpick. And that's exactly the point, right? So fair criticism is saying, hey, you are eating out a lot and you're not losing weight, so maybe don't eat out quite as much. Unfair criticism would be, hey, I know that you're losing weight, but it's not as fast as I think you should be losing weight, so cut out all of this stuff, because even though it's not technically harming you right now, I still think that you could be doing more. That's not really helpful, especially for people who are losing weight, because cutting everything out can also lead to you just not being able to stick to that diet. This idea that people have that donating to her is killing her, I'm conflicted on this. So if you guys can leave me a comment down below on what you think in regards to this, please do let me know. First off, I just want to say, I had somebody tell me a couple days ago that I'm too nice to Amber in my reacts. I think it's a combination of things. One is that genuinely I find Amber to be more likable than I find Chantel. Chantel, I genuinely find her very irritating, and she frustrates me because of all of her bigoted and ignorant shit. Chantel, not Amber. Amber is better. Amber in that regard, at least. And she's still very frustrating to me from a diet and health perspective, and her lack of seriousness when it comes to her own medical history. Her lack of understanding when it comes to that stuff really bothers me. But I find her as a person to be less annoying. I also find her to be much more bland, right? Chantel can be much more interesting to watch just because there's a lot more happening, even if all that's happening is unadulterated garbage fire. Amber tends to edit herself into boredom, pretty much. But what I will say is that when it comes to people saying stuff like, oh, well, donating to her is essentially killing her, I don't know if I agree with that, because people do need to live. People do need to pay rent. People do need to do all of those things. So I don't think that's necessarily fair. But at the same time, because of how well she does on YouTube, she does use a lot of that money to go back into food. She does use a lot of it to fuel her food addiction. So I can see the kind of argument that people are trying to make. I don't know. I'm split on this. I watch Amber's channel. I give her my AdSense, and I'm doing it because I'm getting something out of it, and so I feel like she should get something out of it. And I don't know how I feel about people saying that we should absolutely deplatform her. I think that mukbangs should be deplatformed 100%. I think that YouTube should ban entirely. Doesn't matter how fit you are. I think it's a terrible, terrible concept. So I think that should go away. But would I say that if Amber was just on camera then doing vlogs and showing you, hey, this is a meal I'm eating, and taking one bite and then stopping? I wouldn't say so. I don't think so. Okay. Don't associate yourself with Chantel. I know both of them get mad when we associate them together and we refer to them interchangeably in one breath, but quite frankly, you don't want to be associated with Chantel. I'm a reactor who talks about both of you, so sometimes I see parallels, but you yourself should try and avoid that as much as humanly possible. And no, do not invite Chantel to your wedding. That is a bad look for your brand. I understand that you want allies, but these are not the allies that you want. This is a bridge that you're going to end up being burned on. Like, I mean this very genuinely. Chantel is a garbage person. I mean this 100%. And for all that, sometimes I think Amber is too. I genuinely also think that Amber is trying to be better. Chantel isn't. Chantel has zero interest in being better. Chantel has zero interest in an understanding that she's being a garbage person. And in fact, she tends to double and triple down. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Amber is willing and able to at least allow comments in her comment section and let people say whatever they want. Chantel can't even handle that. She has to create an echo chamber around herself of flunkies. So you don't want to be associated with the trash fire that is Chantel Marie, okay? Keep yourself away from that. You want your channel to grow. You want to do well. You want to continue to be on YouTube. Don't associate yourself with people who are bigoted. That's all I'm going to say. Because Chantel has said it. Chantel has said really bigoted things before. She had said racially insensitive, racist things before. She has said anti-Semitic things before. And I said it before and I'll say it again, that saying it one time does not make you anti-Semitic. It doesn't make you, whatever. But when someone tells you, when someone points out to you that what you're saying is very hurtful to that group in particular, and you double and triple down on it, that's when you're a garbage person. Because there is nothing that I think that if I said something in innocence and I did not realize what I had said was so bad, right? And someone came back to me and said, hey, you said this thing and that thing is offensive and it's upsetting. Don't say it again. I'll be like, okay. I think the only instance where I have been like, I don't care, I disagree with you, is my usage of the word fat, right? I think someone had said that, that's really offensive. You shouldn't call women who are fat that. But fundamentally, fat's a descriptor. Also, if they themselves are okay with them being called fat and they're like, I'm a fat woman, I'm not ashamed of that. When fat activists are out there saying, hey, fat's not a bad word, I feel justified in myself using that word. But using comparisons to the Holocaust, saying the word Charlie Cole in reference to a black woman, my camera got fed up with me and decided to quit. So I'm not entirely sure where I left off. All I'm saying is, don't associate with Chantel. It's for the best. Trust me on that. I find it really funny that she's now saying that don't do Optivia and that it's really, really unhealthy and all that. You haven't taken that video down. You've still left all of your Optivia videos up and they're monetized, and you even have the link down below saying, hey, sign up with my link. So if you really do think that they're unhealthy, then take those videos down, because otherwise, once more, that's garbage person behavior. Don't do that. This is the last point I'm going to make in her video. I don't know if all the clips have been inserted or not, because I told you guys in the beginning what the issue with it was. But you need to show progress. When you say that you're going to do something, right? Do something and then move on. So it's like when you're talking about like, well, if I just do weight loss content, people get bored with the weight loss content. Well, it's because you're stagnated, right? People find weight loss content to be really engaging, but that's when there's stuff happening. If I weigh in every week and I'm at the same weight, or I'm fluctuating back and forth between the same 5 pounds, people are not going to care, because they're going to be like, oh, it's going to be the same thing over again. But if I'm losing weight consistently week after week after week, then that's a journey and people are much more engaged, right? They'll be like, oh, I wonder how much she lost this week, and they'll tune back in. And I think that's the problem with a lot of stuff in her life. It's that she's stagnated. Her content is stagnated. There's no evolution. There's no change. There's no growth. That's what you need to show. You need to show that something has changed. That's why when she moved to a new location, she got a burst of subscribers and stuff started moving again. But again, that's happening, right? When you're showing your vlogs, you're not doing anything different. You're not changing anything about your life. It's the same old, same old. And I'm not saying that it has to be grand things, but there have to be little changes. And we never see that. It's the same 4 or 5 things that you do over and over again in varying sequences, right? So I'm going to buy a bunch of stuff. I'll show it to you. Rarely do you try it on. I'm going to order stuff from outside. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to make something weird and I'm going to eat it. I'm going to color and or make puzzles and or do a thing. You know what I mean? And then earrings. That's going to be its own section. That's pretty much what your vlogs are too. So you don't show any progress. You're not like, oh, I'm learning a new skill. You guys, I'm learning how to do a thing, right? You don't do that. And if you did, I think that your content would be so much more engaging. Anyway, that will be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you hated this video, you can give me a thumbs down. That's totally okay. I respect everybody's opinions here. Sorry if this video is going to be late. Actually, I don't know why I'm saying if. I know it's going to be late. It's probably going to come out on Saturday. I apologize. I'm doing my best here. Crying my best, as Jarvis Johnson would say. So, sorry about that, you guys. Still, if you want to continue to follow my channel, you want to continue to follow me, you can hit the subscription down below. You can hit all if you want to know when I upload any video right away. I've got all my social medias linked down below. I've got Instagram where it's food stuff and life stuff, and it's a little light on both right now, but give me time. I've got Twitter where I'm both the easiest to interact with and a little bit of a trash can fire. So if you guys want to check me out, giving my unsolicited opinions and or interacting with me, that's where you can do that. I've got Patreon. Think of Patreon as the tip jar for the internet. So if you like the job that I'm doing here and you would like me to continue, hey, consider tossing a few coins in my direction on Patreon. I also have my channel subscription. So if you guys want to do that, you can also do that. I offer a variety of perks for both of those things. So, you know, consider it. You don't have to, but consider it. It would definitely help me out. As always, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace.